What is up, Stout Nation? Welcome back. It's part 2 of my mom's birthday gift knife build video. Say that 10 times fast. Today we're working on the handle. Right now, as you can see, I'm drawing it up. But we're going to be selecting materials. We're going to be drilling some slots. We're going to be doing some glue ups. Hope you enjoy. All right, so the blade is in the oven tempering. Right now I'm working on designing the handle and the final profile and figuring out what materials I want to use. This is the handle design that I've settled on. I traced the blade and then did the handle and then did the handle again just because it looked a little messy with the tang lines in there and stuff. So this is what it's going to be. Now I just have to decide on materials. And this is kind of the pile that I'm picking from. My thoughts are either I do a purple heart for the bolster, right, for this top section, and then this, which is spalted beech, maybe beech, maybe maple. I'm honestly not 100% sure, but do that as the main handle with a spacer, probably this. I think this is aluminum. I could do that, or if we see the pattern and we decide that this is going to be too much, I could just go blackwood, which is a little bit more understated, but I think it would still look good. Or what I could do is I've got this buffalo horn that I could do the buffalo horn on the bolster. And then I've got this piece of stabilized, I think it's curly maple with a little bit of spalting in it, that I think that would be a cool combo. Whoopsie. Nice. I think that would be a cool combo as well. So I've got options, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I think we've come to a decision. We put some oil on these woods to see a little bit closer what they'll look like when they're finished. And I think we've decided that this is gonna be a little bit too chaotic for the Damascus that we're doing. So I think we're gonna go with this and the buffalo horn for the bolster. And I think we're just gonna keep it simple and do a single layer aluminum spacer. We could still decide to sandwich it with like a black or a white G10, probably the white if we were going to. But I think we're just gonna keep it simple on this one. Okay, so we're about to start on the bolster, which is this part here. What I'm gonna do is because I have it at an angle where it meets, we can't cut that and then drill, because then the slot won't be at the same angle as the tang. Does that make sense? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut basically a rectangle that is perpendicular to the slot, and then we're gonna drill the slot square to the piece, right? And then we're gonna cut down the angles. Does that make sense? If not, you'll see it in a minute. Now, if it looks like I'm rushing through shaping this buffalo horn bolster, that's because I am. There's 2 reasons for that. The first reason, it kind of stinks to high head. The second reason is something I learned way back in engineering school, and that's that there's no point in being more precise than your next worst step. In this case, I fully expect the drill bit to wander when we go to drill the slot, so there's no point trying to get it parallel and square now. So, now we're marking the slot with my new fancy dial calipers. I'm gonna take whatever's half of this. Mark the center line. Hey, that was pretty good. And then let's see, we need something like 12 mil. know if you can see those marks, but they're there. Unfortunately, doing this with a drill press, there's always going to be a little bit of slop. This drill press is not very big, not very strong. I think it bows a little bit when I put too much pressure on it, but that's okay because we're using an undersized drill bit and we're going to sneak up on the real size of files. Trying to do nice hidden tang fit-ups is frankly infuriating a lot of the time, and I think it's one of my biggest weaknesses as a knife maker. It's certainly something I want to get better at. They say money doesn't solve problems, but it would buy me a milling machine. Just saying. Alright, so we got the 4 holes drilled. They look pretty good on this side. They look not quite as good on this side, but that's fine, it doesn't matter. Now we're going to connect them up with the drill bit the best we can, and then we're going to dial it in with files. All right, that looks pretty good. You can see it's a little bit wobbly, but that's okay. We're gonna fix that up with the files. And we used an undersized drill bit for the size of the tang for that specific reason. But already even, it is starting to get in there, so we're in a good spot. What we're gonna do first though, now that the slot is roughed in, is we're gonna cut it to the angle that I want. So I'm just gonna trace my shoulders there and then connect that line. We're gonna make that cut and flatten, and then we're gonna do the same cut down at the bottom. Before you guys go rushing to the comments to tell me, Jacob, your bandsaw sounds terrible. I get it, I know, I don't want to hear it. This is a dull blade that I literally can't switch off because the knob to loosen it completely broke off the bandsaw. Thankfully, I'm getting a new one tomorrow. So, what we're doing now is a tip that I learned from Mastersmith Josh Fisher at the New England School of Metalwork. And he uses it for guards, but I'm applying it for bolster here. Revolutionary, I know, which is basically you clamp your bolster or your guard or whatever in your file guide, and then you file it flat, and then bam, it's flat and square, and then you put it on the other side at the distance that you want from the side that's already flat, and then you have a perfectly even and flat slot for your tang. So that's what we're doing. Now it's a lot of this. Isn't this exciting? If anybody has any recommendations for good files, drop them in the comments. All my files are kind of janky. Thanks. All right, so I'm calling it good on the first side of filing. We still got to go back in and do the other side, but let's just check and see how we're doing. Goes up about halfway, pretty tight, no huge gaps. I mean, there is on the front and the back, but that's because the tang tapers down, so that's fine. And even if there are a little bit of a gap, even if there is a little bit of a gap, we can use black epoxy to kind of fill it in a little bit. Don't tell my mom. But yeah, let's go work on the other side. What's up, guys? It's day 3. I just finished filing the slot for the tang on this bolster here. Let's see how well it fits. Oh, we're getting real close. Getting real close. All right, a little more filing, I guess. All right, check this out. I'm like 99% of the way there. And honestly, a tap from a mallet might get it up there perfectly. But I mean, look at that. There's no gaps. No gap. This is why I'm one of America's top young rising knife makers. All right, next up, we're gonna do the spacer. This goes in between the bolster and the handle block. But because right now my metal bandsaw is broken, we are going to be using a poor man's metal bandsaw, AKA an angle grinder. It's like a bandsaw, only it's actively trying to unalive me. All right, we're drilling the slot. Oh goody, you get to watch me struggle some more. I'm starting to think my editor gets off on making me look like I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, bad idea, don't do this at home. All right, good enough on the drilling. Am I a little bit askew? Yeah, but it's fine because nobody's gonna see it. Less of a need to sneak up on it, you know?
Yeah, Batman.
All right, so we've got a slot now in our spacer. There's still some gunk from the drill, but we'll take care of that in a minute. But our hole is big enough, maybe even a little too big, but it's fine because it's gonna get glued in and nobody's gonna see it. So the bolster's done. The spacer's 90% done. Now we're moving on to the handle block. We got to decide which side of this we want to drill into and which faces we want where. There's some gray in here that I don't know if it's on the surface or if it penetrates. So we're gonna go to the belts, sand this back a little bit and see if we can't get to more of this purple color. If not, it's fine because we can just use this as the top. So if you look here, we ground into this a 1/16 of an inch or something, and there's still a lot of gray. So we're gonna use that side. That's a little bit nicer. Well, so there's a crack here that we have to avoid. So basically we're just gonna offset the slot so that you treat the crack as the edge of the wood, and I think we'll be okay. All right, we've got the slot marked and we've got the general shape outlined. I'm gonna go ahead and chop that on the chop saw just to make it easier to fit in the drill press. And then we're gonna go ahead and get drilling that slot. By the time I'm done with this handle, this shop is gonna look like we got hit by the Pixie Sticks truck. Okay, now we're making progress in the right direction. That's good. Look at that, pink dust. All right, so we're up to the green, which means we can start on the next hole. That one ended up doing a lot of drifting, both backwards and forwards, so we're only gonna need 2 holes here. But that's just fine. It's gonna be fine. Yeah, that was a big mistake. Big mistake. I started it too close to the existing hole and it drifted right in there. So, have I told you how much I hate drilling slots? Luckily, I'm a genius. I have a little bit of room to play with on the bottom, so I could just shave off the top until we're back to flat in that spot. You know what I'm saying? The bit wandered into the other hole, and that's as far in as I can get it. Which, we've got a long bolster, so it's not like the end of the world. But I definitely have a ways to go, and I'm not looking forward to it. All right, my patience has worn thin, so we're gonna burn the tang in. It's like 90% of the way there. Just remember, we've got that big fat bolster. Here we go. That blue rag there is soaked in water, and that's to prevent the blade from heating up too much while I'm doing this burning. I bet that's gonna do it. Cool this off.
It stinks in here.
Yeah. That's
Looks like a Bath and Body Works.
I mean, that's what happens when, well, that's very charitable, actually. Doing a burn-in on stabilized wood can sometimes be a little bit odorous. Should I do it? Should I touch it? Should I touch it?
You're gonna yell.
Touch it?
You're gonna yell, but it's not gonna actually burn you.
I'm gonna do it. Ah!
That was just loud.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's see how close we are with the bolster and the spacer.
We can also add more spacer if need be. Do a sandwich.
I guess we could. I'd rather not. Let's see. No spacer. Oh yeah, we're there. We got it. Now what we have to do, we gotta clean this up so that it's not all, so that it's flat. We have to flatten this basically. And then we have to see how well these all fit together. The angles should line up. I did math, although I am a college dropout. I'll flatten this a little bit because it's still got saw lines on it. But after that, I think we're ready to glue the handle together and bed the tang in epoxy. Now, I've had extremely mixed results in bedding my tangs with epoxies that usually end up in just accidentally gluing the whole thing together. And I don't want that to happen. So, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna be very careful. Here I'm just dremeling out the hole on the spacer. The drill bit that I had used was a little bit dull, and so it had created some deformation that was making the pieces not sit flat together. But this was an easy way to fix it up. Burning it in, worked like a charm, if a little stinky. So now everything goes together, goes where it needs to be. The only problem is there's still little gaps. I don't know if you can tell it all, but I can see it when I hold it up to the light. There's little gaps. So what I think that means is, well, A, this needs to be flattened because it's still got saw marks. This, I think I could also stand to flatten a little bit. So we're gonna go do those. I'm only able to do this with any precision because I know that my platen is flat. If you haven't seen my review video of the RD Knives Carbide Flat Platen, you should go check it out. My old platen, I would not have been able to do this because it would have just given me lumps and gaps and it would have been a bad time. All right, we're 99.9% of the way there on the fit up. Everything looks good. There's a little bit of a gap maybe between the spacer and the bolster, but guess what? The bolster's black. So is our epoxy. Is it cheating? Who can say for sure? But it's what we're gonna do. Basically, I'm going to load up all these with epoxy. I'm gonna load up the tang with this synthetic grease so that it doesn't bond to the handle material. I'm gonna stick it all together. I'm gonna take it to clamp town. And then before the epoxy cures all the way, we're gonna take this out. The epoxy in the handle is strong enough at that point to hold its shape, but not so strong that it won't let me take the blade out. This is all theoretical, of course. It could go horribly wrong. And I'm gonna clamp the heck out of it so that hopefully it fills those gaps in there. So let's get to it. I'm lubing up my tang here. So the last time I tried to bed a tang in epoxy, I waited too long and I couldn't get the blade out, and I had to forcefully remove the blade from the handle, tragically sacrificing all my hard work getting the handle fit up. So I'm hoping to not do that a second time because that would stink. Now, if I did a good job, then I won't need that much. But I'm not counting on it. That shouldn't be enough. Oh, do you want to run over in the back corner there and get me gloves? I want to get a good mix here because if it's not fully mixed, it won't cure right. The problem is I wish this wasn't quite so thick. And I could dilute it with acetone. That's what I do for my mosaic pins, but it messes with the bonding ability a little bit. Bedding the tang isn't strictly necessary on every knife. If you have a mono steel knife where the ricasso and the spine don't flow into the handle, you can get away with just finishing your blade and finishing your handle separately, gluing them up and calling it a day. But because the design of this knife, the spine flows into the back of the handle and the choil flows into the front of the handle, so I want to be able to sand the handle in relation to the blade like that. Does that make sense? And then the other part is it's Damascus. So if I glue it up, I can't re-etch it because the acid will mess with the handle material. So I need to be able to do all the shaping and then take the blade out in order to etch it on its own.
Five minutes later.
All right, I know I said 8 minutes. It's been like 4, but I'm getting scared because it's looking pretty gummy, which is what we want. So I'm gonna go ahead and unclamp. And we're gonna see if we can get this out. No, no! It's not fair! But not so strong that it will not so strong it out. Not so strong theoretical. Okay, oh my gosh. All right. I just about died, but it's fine because it came off. This is good. I think. I think this is good. I think this is good. Okay. Let's just see. Yeah, goes right on up in there. Fits real nice and good.
Would have laughed so hard if it just got permanently stuck in that moment.
I would have cried, genuinely, probably. Is it ready? Does this have any play? Not really. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna load up with another round of lube. And I'm gonna put it back in for a few minutes.
You should maybe clean it up with acetone.
That's what I'm doing. I'm done with this quick set epoxy stuff. No more. It's burned me too many times. Thanks. Hey, I mean, that'll make for good content at least.
Yeah, okay, I can't get it.
I'll do it in a second. All right, now lube central.
Should you like spray some WD-40 up in there?
Nah. This stuff is better than WD-40.
Yeah, but then you can get it all up in the cracks.
I don't want to get it in there. Now back in just for alignment as everything sets up. I'm gonna come check it again in like 3 minutes. But I think I'm good at this point. I mean, it's a good fit, which is what you want. You don't want it to be easy to come out. I think I'm safe. I think I'm safe to leave it. All right, our, what do we say, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, however long, has passed, and it did come off again, so I think we're in the clear. I don't think this needs more clamping pressure, so I'm just gonna let it sit while it finishes curing. And then in the meantime, we're gonna do a little bit more blade grinding on the grinder and then hand sand. Get ready to etch this puppy.